running a 5K, and I was testing her, and she don't like to run, but she was doing a good job, and she was working.
Right.
And I said, "Hey, we can cut right through right there. No one will see us. Let's cut through. Let's just pop out the other side. No one will see us." And she's like, "All right, let's go." And I'm like, "You just failed." I was testing that integrity.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another edition of the Rob and Cory Show. Today we have a special guest, and he goes by the name of Nate Harden, a fellow that I've been knowing for 30 plus years. And we just like to introduce Nate, or let him introduce himself. And welcome to the show, Nate. Thanks for coming.
Okay. Well, thanks, Rob. Rob and I go back 30 plus years. He's been cutting my son hair since he was 1 year old. So,
man, Rob don't look a day over 30. How's that possible?
It's the fitness.
Yeah. So, we've had many conversations, about just about everything that we can think of. And just about a month ago, we were talking about just kids in general, or not kids. We don't want to call them kids, but young men and young people in general, girls and male and female in a sense, but young people. And what we see as some opportunities to help them out so far as moving forward, being productive in society, as we look and see the different things that are going on in our society, and and the different people who are just trying to give a hand and help out. And so myself, I'm a recent retiree. I worked 33 years for oil company, and so once I retired, I wanted to kind of give back something myself and help out different young people to be successful. So I do have a teacher's license, although I haven't taught in 30 years. I have always been in the education field, been a trainer on my job, so I feel that I have something that I can offer young people so far as.
So when you were a teacher, what subject did you teach and what grade level?
I have not. Well, I've only substitute teaching. I haven't had a full teaching job.
Gotcha. So typically you substitute for elementary school?
Up there, I can teach K through high school.
Cool.
Yeah. So, but my teaching experience has been brief. But so far as training and teaching, I've been a trainer on my job so far as in process control, manufacturing, oil and gas. So pretty much.
I never knew you had a teaching license, Nate.
Many people don't know that I have a teacher's license.
The stuff you bring out of people after 30 years on a podcast, man.
Well, I'm just saying, we've been, just like he didn't know I was in high tech stuff. So
yeah. Well, even my wife and a lot of people, same difference. I told my wife and my son, hey, I'm a certified driver's instructor too, but I really never told anybody that.
Okay.
And so I do a little work on the side for driver's license as well. So, but it's the things you have to have a lot of tools in your belt. And that's what I encourage young people to do. Mm-hmm. Have something you can fall back on and don't have just one thing to fall back on you.
That's true.
You have to be a little versatile. So, so I did 33 years working with oil and gas. And now I started a company called Principle-Based Learning Services.
Okay. And that's the reason why we brought you on the podcast, man. We want to learn about this principle-based learning services. And this is for what age group?
I would say 18 to 24.
Okay, so young men.
Yep. It's a job readiness and personal development program that I run. So what I see as an opportunity for young people to succeed and be productive is, for them to, I would say opportunity comes all the time, but you have to prepare. What happens when, as I heard someone say, what happens when opportunity meets preparation? So if you prepare, opportunity going to come and then you're going to succeed. So it's all about the preparation.
It's like stay ready. If you stay ready, you don't got to get ready.
You don't have to get ready.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times what happened is the job coming, you say, man, if I knew it was coming, I'd have done something different.
I can't tell you how many times I've had opportunities that I blew because I didn't know what I was supposed to do, whether it be an investment opportunity. Maybe I had some money. When I was younger, I saved up a bunch of money, and I worked for a company called Ford Motor Company, and the stock was down to like $1.80. And I had a bunch of money in my bank account, didn't invest a dime in the stock because no one taught me about stock.
Exactly.
No one taught me what to do. And I ended up putting it in a CD to get 5%.
Yeah.
And then the stock went to like $18 from like $1.80. And I had like $50,000 I put in the CD because I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So think about that. I would have 10x that money.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't do it because no one taught me to do it. I was a young man. I was like 24 working as hard as I could, saving every dime I had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, opportunity and preparation, they go hand in hand. You might get one without the other. I was prepared, but when I got the opportunity, I wasn't prepared to understand stocks. I was understand to have the money. I had the money, prepared to have the money, but not to actually understand what to do with it. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the program that you're talking about?
Okay, yeah, the program. So the reason I started principle-based learning services, something that I learned on my job, from working 33 years. So the company that I worked for, they had these basic principles. And in every room of every building you went in were these simple, basic principles. And the owners, I would say, didn't want you to learn. They didn't necessarily need mechanical engineers or scientists or whatever. They just need good people. And so what he focused on was just basic principles, stuff like integrity, respect. And what I say about these basic principles, they don't own these words. They are basic, simple words. And what I see is someone put it to me, someone told me this, said, what you're doing is you're teaching people, you're being a parent. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is another guy told me, said, hey, you're building lieutenants. And both of them are correct in the sense of the difference is if you take someone, and you're going to have to bear with me on this, if you take someone and you take a smart guy and you send him to Princeton University, and then you take another guy and you send him to West Point. Now, both of them are smart, but there's a difference in who you're building. The guy they're sending to West Point, you're building almost a general. And what West Point does is they build character. They're not just teaching you how to be smart, but if you build character, you can build anything you want to build. And I see that's the need that what we need to do with young people. So back to being a parent, there's so many people that are not being raised in a stable household, or I'm not going to say a good household because it's a bad choice of words. Mm-hmm. I want to just say a household where values are taught. And if you don't teach values, you lose the whole gamut of everything. A lot of programs are built to tell you to get a trade, to go to school. And it's almost like everybody who running these programs have rosy glasses on, like you're a parent again, because I want to make this person the best person. And you teach them how to be a good electrician, but nobody's teaching you how to have basic skills, principles, basic, courage, respect, and, it's all about foundation.
Yeah, things that they can use in every single aspect of life.
Exactly. So you don't have to focus. If you build basic principles, you can do anything.
Yeah.
And that's why I use the contrast between West Point and Princeton. An officer or a lieutenant, they have basic personal values. Yep. That's all they want to do with the general, is make somebody you can trust, somebody who has integrity, somebody who can lead, and you can be anything you want to be.
Yeah, you need a lot a lot of lieutenants under one general to make things run smooth, but not everybody's built to be a general either. So
Not everybody's built to be a general, but it's good when everybody's marching to the same beat.
oh
though.
yeah.
So what's your definition of integrity?
And it's just like what we teach. Always have the courage to act with integrity. A lot of times, if Rob's my best friend and I can see Rob doing something wrong, I'm not going to tell Rob that he's doing wrong because he's my friend. But I need to have the courage to tell Rob.
Well, Rob is my best friend. You tell me I got to step my game up?
You have to step your game up. I mean, so when you see Rob doing something, you have to have that courage.
Dang, man! I'm glad you brought Nate on here, man. We gotta have some conversations,
you
man.
use the wrong person as an example. 'Cause any chance he gets, he's gonna try and tear into me.
So I once heard somebody say the definition of integrity is doing the difficult right instead of the easy wrong.
Like Yeah.
And so doing the difficult right instead of easy wrong. So, and I teach this all the time to my kids. I have custody of my niece. We recently ran a 5K. It's called Girls on the Run.
Mm-hmm.
So we go out to the fairgrounds. We're running a 5K, and I was testing her. And she don't like to run, but she was doing a good job, and she was working.
Right.
And I said, hey, we can cut right through right there. No one will see us. Let's cut through. Let's just pop out the other side. No one will see us. And she's like, all right, let's go. And I'm like, you just failed. I was testing that integrity.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tough thing. I mean, integrity. And you have to, I was talking to someone the other day and I was helping them. They were preparing for an interview. And, and you always have to say the right thing as well, but like I was telling them, the one thing you have to say is, and you have to do as well. If I'm working with someone and you see them taking shortcuts, you got to call them out.
Yeah.
You have to call them out. I mean, and because it's all about you and who you are, versus the outcome all the time. You want to be able to sleep at night, as they would say.
Yeah, I think that program that you're running needs to be implemented in a lot of the correctional facilities that I'm in. I think some of the kids need to see and hear that, there's principles that need to be acquired for when they get out, like if they're looking for a job or if they're trying to get on the right track. And I try to teach some of those principles, but when it's in front of you, laid out, mapped out in a program that you can study while you're right there, while you're doing your time, I think that would make a big difference.
Yeah.
A big difference.
So what is, I mean, if I was going to say, give me an explanation of what the program is, start to finish, it's something that I want to be a part of. I'm an 18-year-old man or a 20-year-old man. What exactly is the program? How do you get involved?
How do you get involved? Well, I'm just getting started, but let's talk what the program talks about or what it's about. It's about personal development. It's about your personal development so that you can transform yourself. You want to be able to transform yourself. You want to be able to transform your family, and then the community you're in. But I'm an 18-year-old, like you said, though. An 18-year-old is not thinking about a family, thinking about their community. But how that 18-year-old wants to know how they can be a better person. I always would say, picture what your good self look like. I mean, picture a successful you. What does a successful you looks like? And then they would tell me, this is what it would look like, and what kind of house a successful you would live in. And they say, well, this kind of house, and they would live this. Okay, good. Let's start right there, and now let's build up to that point. So, I mean, because they know what they want to do, my program kind of just builds a blueprint to help you get there. So, but the thing is, you have to start fundamental. You can't skip the fundamental parts of it. So you have to build a better you. You can't lie to yourself. That's the basic thing is, so you have to build those, you had integrity. And the thing, these words a lot of these kids, they hear every day. It's just that we don't spend enough time with them. And like I said, the company that I work for, in every room, everywhere you go, it's the same words over and again. And this got to become a part of your everyday. It's not something you say and then just move on. And I think that's where we're going wrong, in a sense of, well, where we're not capitalizing. We need to spend more time on talking about respect, more time on integrity. And,
Okay.
yeah.
So I heard you say integrity. I heard you say respect. Is there any more fundamental keywords that stand out to you?
Oh yeah, certainly. It's I want to just humility, and I have good examples of good humility, knowledge, always trying to seek more knowledge, stewardship, always. A lot of times young people think, hey, I'm getting a job to make money. Well, in actuality, you want a job, true, to make money, but I want to help my employer make more money so he can pay me more money. That should be the end game. And then, because you think of it that way, he wants you on your team. An employer wants somebody who's going to help him. Everybody's moving along together. If you think of I'm just coming to work to get money, then, you have to have a different thought process. Because, a good example I would get is, I tell people is, if you were a guy mowing the grass and your job is just to drive the lawnmower, but one day you notice the lawnmower was out of oil, and you say, I'm not going to put any oil in it. That's not my job.
Keep driving.
Yeah, well, it's not my job. That's somebody else's job. But now the lawnmower breaks, right? Now I have to lay you off because they don't have a working lawnmower for you to ride on.
It's a good analogy.
But if you were a good steward, hey, I see it need oil. I'm gonna help out here. This is not my job, but I need to do things to keep this business going. So
So what's an example of a? You said you had a blueprint. What's a brief example of the blueprint to help a young person to have these, to use these keywords, to understand the basics, to have honesty, integrity, stewardship, all these different things you're talking about. What is the blueprint?
Well, the blueprint is normally, so I have a class, and we start out with what we call a growth mindset, and same thing I was talking about is just identifying what you want to be, and then let's logically and systematically get to where you want to be. And we can start out with sometime I use just a yes and no diagram. You ask a question, hey, do you have the fundamental reading skills? If the answer is yes, you can move this way. If it's no, let's go this way.
It's like a flow chart.
Yeah, just flow chart. Just yes and no. That's all we have to do. Just talking to any individual, yes and no, but answer these with integrity. And then whenever you hit these no, let's take care of the no part. And the other thing is with that is, number one, no one. The problem with a lot of kids is when you put them up in front of people, they don't want to try because they're afraid of failure. I don't like to fail, and so we have to develop them and we have to educate them in a sense for them to know that failure is a part of progress, so that you don't take setbacks personally. I'm teaching a boiler class right now, and the way I started the class, I gave them the expectation that, and I know from experience that 90% of the people who take the test fail it. So I just put that out front. And so the guys took the test, 9 out of 10 failed, but they already knew that. But 8 out of 9 was asking me, hey, when can we get back? Because we know how to do it next time. But their expectations, failure wasn't a disappointment to them. Failure was built into the program. Well, that's a bad analogy, but what I'm saying is the outcome of the possibility, because like I told them, you could fail a test, but in 30 days, you can retake the test. And the passing rate for the person taking it the second time was 99%.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's kind of like the real estate test, because I know that when I first took my real estate test, I actually signed up for my state exam, not my national. I didn't realize I had to do both.
mhm.
I didn't do very well on it, so I went back and took an exam prep course where you walk in, they give you the test, they let you fail it, then they show you where you went wrong. Then the next day I took both tests, I got 99%.
Exactly.
It's kind of the same thing. And I didn't think your analogy was stupid at all, because we all know that failure is a necessary step to any success. I mean, there ain't a successful person out there that hasn't failed.
Exactly. But I don't think a lot of kids get that message, and a lot of young people don't get it. But the thing you would have, and it goes back to just principles, and being honest with yourself, and but building that roadmap. They have the SMART thing. It's called SMART. Where and it's a acronym. I have it written down what we use, but each letter stands for something, and it's just a roadmap to how you want to get to the next point.
You're teaching a lot of self-discipline.
It's self-discipline, and it's basic principles that you need. Like I said, it's personal development,
Yep.
and it's job readiness. I've been talking to the same company that I work for. I was talking to the training and development officer there, and they were saying that the biggest problem they have right now is people coming on the job and not having personal skills. I mean, the skills of humility, respect, integrity. Not that they don't know how to do the job. It's just that these simple things that keep them from staying on, they'll get the job, but they don't have the humility to tell someone, hey, I don't know the answer to this. And then they'll make a mistake, cost the company money to get themselves fired. Mm-hmm. When another analogy I always use is if you were working for a carpenter and the guy tells you, hey, cut this wood 12 inches, piece of wood 12 inches long, and you don't know how to read a tape measure, so you go over and cut it, and you cut it 11 inches. Now you done ruined the material. You got yourself fired. But if you had the humility to tell him, say, hey, I don't know how to read a tape measure, one, he'll tell you he'll teach you to read a tape measure, and you have a job. You learn two things. I mean, you see what I'm saying? But if you did it wrong, you don't get, you screw everybody.
It's kind of funny because I did a technology training, this is about 2 weeks ago, in front of a group of people that were probably aged 45 and up. Mm-hmm. And we were discussing some technology that we have in my work. I was talking about marketing using landing pages and website domain names and stuff like that. And after I was done with this whole thing, this lady comes up to me. She's probably in her 70s, maybe 80s. She's a little bit older woman. She said, Cory, she's like, just so you know, I don't know what a URL is. I don't know what a landing page is. Exactly. And because I don't know what that stuff is, I don't even know what you said. Exactly. So if you could just get back to the basics and just give us the very basic information when it comes to technology, because these are a little bit older, group of people, then we would have understood everything you said. But because we didn't know the basics, you lost us at hello, basically. Yeah. And it's really the same thing, only that's the flip side, right? It's a little bit older people. Yeah. And another train I do, and this is just to get back to like people not understanding kind of just the basics of what's important for their job, right? Is I'll say, in real estate, I'll say, what's the most important part about being a real estate agent? And people will just start blurting stuff out. And usually it's stuff like, you got to be a good people person. You got to be, have a good personality. You got to be understanding. You got to be caring. It's all this stuff. And then occasionally someone will say, well, you have to be able to negotiate and stuff like that. So then what I'll do is I'll say, okay, and I'll create a T, and I'll say, okay, so I want you to divide these traits into basically EQ and IQ. So the technical side and the emotional side. Right. And like 90% of everything they said slides over to the emotional side. And what makes people scared of their job is that they don't understand the technical side. And I'm like, but you just said the emotional stuff is what makes somebody a good real estate agent. And that'll just alleviate all the fear right away. So it's kind of the same thing as like, in order to be good at your job, you have to have these very basic, you have to have that integrity. You have to have, just that basic need in order for you to be successful. And it's not even about the technical stuff. You can always learn that later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. And so the company that I'm working for, and not calling their names, but they're right now about the 10th richest people in the world. And they think that these 8 principles are what's important. And I went to them and I said, hey, I want to use exactly what you're doing. And they came back, and their lawyers came back and said, yeah, the only reason the guy published them is for you to use them. But my thing is, if he's the 8th richest person in the world, and this is what he thinks is important, why am I thinking something different? I mean, it's
true.
And then you have to figure out, and
pretty much a blueprint.
It's a blueprint.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean,
and that all comes down to humility, right?
Humility,
because
yes.
we all. I mean, they say if you're the one that's pacing your entire friend group, that's a problem, right? You want somebody to try to keep you, and wants to, you need somebody to pace you, basically.
Exactly.
It's just a motivation thing. I was watching something the other day. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this TikTok, and it shows these horses. Have you seen this? It shows these horses that can pull 12 to 14 pounds, strongest horse in the world.
The Clydesdales.
Something like that. And
Anheuser-Busch ones.
What's that?
Those Anheuser-Busch.
Something like
horses,
that. And they say they can pull 12 to 14,000 pounds, but if you put 2 of them together, they can pull 35,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And it's because they try to show each other up. They overexert themselves and they pace each other. And so they end up exerting themselves like 150% of what they can actually do.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's how anything is in life. You surround yourself with the right people, you're going to keep moving forward. Whereas if you're the guy that's always making pace, people are trying to keep up with you, you ain't never going to go nowhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're chasing your tail because you have no person to like set the tone for you. You're always setting the tone. So, you got people, you're always answering questions, or, you're trying to show somebody something, and then your knowledge isn't that high because there's nobody in front of you that you can follow or that you can be led by. So yeah, that's true. But when you do team up with somebody that's at a higher caliber than you, then you're starting to learn. Like I've learned a ton from Cory. Like
or if you can be in a caliber, it's like I'm a higher caliber than you, then all of a sudden you're a higher caliber than me at this other thing. And we just keep pacing each other, and so we're just driving even stronger and further.
Well, it's kind of like my golf game. I like playing with guys better than me.
Yeah, well, everybody's better than me, so I just need to play golf with anybody.
Well, I might not add much, but I mean, I like playing with guys better than me.
Nate said, so drop my hands, keep my chin down.
I just got beat mini golf by my wife the other day.
So
you really need to hang out with
I
us.
was devastated, dude.
Yeah. But what they say is a man only runs as fast as he have to. In other words, if the guy behind you not running near world record pace, you're never going to run the world record.
It's a David Bannister thing, man.
Yeah.
David the 6-minute mile guy.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody ran a 6-minute mile, so he did it. Now everybody's doing it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You just need to know that you could be done, right? If it can be done, then anybody can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's Rob and I. We had a good conversation just talking about just what these young people need. I just see it as, I'm not focused. It's so many people who are focusing on, hey, get a trade, go to school, do all of this, and we just miss all the basics.
Yeah.
It's a large population of people who are, and that's the part I'm saying. You're being a parent, but we can't expect different results if we don't do the basics.
Yeah, and that age group that you're working with right now is an age group that was born in the new the millennium era.
They're the millenniums.
With the phones and
exactly,
and all the computers and the technology. So they got a lot of stuff at their fingertips, and if you don't show them how to control that or use it for the better good or the greater good, then they just get wrapped up in any and everything. So they don't know what's right, what's wrong,
No.
what's left, what's right. So,
and with this virtual, what do you call it, distant learning now?
Yeah.
With distant learning, the word respect might be going out the window because, I mean, if I'm at home and you're at home, I don't have to respect your space.
Yeah. You see a lot of those videos.
You don't have to. It's a lot of. I don't have to. It just you lose a lot of just common sense stuff and.
Well, distance learning, all the virtual stuff we've been doing has really caused a lot of harm actually across the board. I mean, from a social aspect, right? Like my daughter she sings and stuff like that. She sang in front of 6 to 10,000 people. I don't know how many people at the state fair.
Mm-hmm.
And she went into distant learning. I think she was a little bit nervous getting back out there and singing in front of a group. You know what I mean? Because, she sings at church and stuff like that, but even the church was doing virtual singing.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of these things that young people used to get trained on that now all of a sudden they become a lot different, right?
Yeah.
A little different system.
Yeah.
The fact that Zoom is still a thing even after the pandemic situation, I mean, it's here to stay. And if you look at my office, real estate office, we have 86 agents or 80 plus agents in one of our offices. And I'd say at any given time, you see maybe 10 in there, probably less.
Wow.
Distance learning, distance
Just
working.
because they realize they figured out a different way of doing business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they're like, this is great. I can sit at home and do this.
And the thing that we have to realize is that once you figure out a different way to do it, you're never going back to the old way of doing it. I mean, so but what's important is that you still develop personal skills, and that's important.
So do you have, I mean, if you were just going to, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, 5 things, young man, 18 to 25 right now, top 5 things he can do daily to improve his life or to develop these skills if no one else is teaching him what to do?
Number one is I would say come see me.
Good answer.
Come see me, and we start from where you're at. And that's the thing is, wherever you're at in your life, you can start. You don't need any particular skills to start out. The thing you have to do is just be willing to come, willing to learn, and just willing to really assess your own life. And I would say, but if there's something you want to do, you want to be, just if you want to be a painter, just every week learn one thing about painting. I mean, just or if you want to be assertive, just learn something about painting, one thing about painting every day. But just imagine if you were 18 years old and you learn one thing about painting every week. Just one thing by getting Google in it, doing anything you want to do. Where would you be in 3 years if you learn one thing about painting every week?
In the top 5%, probably.
I mean,
exactly.
that all comes down to the whole, people overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate what they can do in a decade.
Yeah.
It's because people aren't consistent with what they do. And I actually had wrote on my whiteboard upstairs, no 0 days. And people ask me, what does no 0 days? I mean, it's just like you said, well, it just means that every day, let's just say I wanted to learn about painting, every day I'm going to pick up a paintbrush. It don't matter if I make 1 stroke or 100 strokes. I'm just not going to have a 0 day. I'm not going to have a day where I do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Because as long as we have no 0 days, we're going to see that exponential increase in skill at some point. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to reach your goal. I mean, because it's just, and I could do better, but but this is what I'm doing now. Every day I want to figure out how can I help somebody. And every day I put something into my principle-based learning. And today I'm sitting here with you guys.
Yeah, you succeeded. You succeeded today.
Yeah, exactly.
And
so,
now we can get this out to more people.
Yeah.
Which is a plus.
But that's one of my blueprints, for helping people is just, hey, let's figure out where you're at. I mean, and every week, just one little thing. Let's do it. Personal development. What did you work on this week for personal development? And just take it day by day, just like that. But it's important,
This sounds like something that should be inside schools, inside detention centers. It should be on the walls, like you said, at your former job. Just a blueprint of skills that people should live their life by.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And again, I see successful people doing this and using these simple, basic words, and it's changing their life. And Matter of fact, I was in a golf tournament this past last Friday, and it was a young lady there. I met her husband, and the husband was telling me how when his wife brought these basic principle words, integrity, respect, stewardship, knowledge, humility, transformation, she just started bringing them into their house and just talking about them, and how, and her husband was telling me how it transformed their whole house.
So is the whole blueprint, is it affirmations based? Is it you're using the words, or is it that you're doing actions?
Well, you're using the words, and you're practicing the words, and you living by the words. Same difference is who in the community you can trust, who in the community adding to the community. That's who you want to be, and that's what you want to have in your house. So I mean, you Rob, you guys y'all hold your kids to a certain standard. I think my program is not for everybody, because I'm not saying that everybody needs what I have to take, but I think there's a large population that don't get what we give to our kids.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the kids I'm trying to reach. Who
Absolutely, and the sooner the better.
Yeah,
I would say that I had to use self-discipline to figure things out on my own, right? My parents didn't really teach me much, but I have a 22-year-old daughter.
Your father going to probably see this. Right?
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I'm cool with that because, this is an open conversation. But the truth is that my oldest daughter didn't probably get everything she needed from me when she was younger, because I was a young man. She was born when I was 17.
Exactly.
And so I had to use self-discipline to figure all this stuff on my own. By that time, she was 12 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And so had I had a little bit better foundation, then she would have a better foundation, and the cycle just continues, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what it is. For a lot of people, the cycle continues, and for a lot of people, the cycle, they're in a bad cycle.
Yeah.
But once you get when you start teaching your kid the importance of integrity and humility, then that cycle continues as well. So it's again, it's a lot of people are teaching a lot of other things. It's just that I'm trying to reach back and teach basic principles, not so that, even though we are a job readiness program, I'm not necessarily trying to make you a better person for the job. I want you to be a better person for yourself.
Yeah.
And once you become a better person for yourself, you can do almost anything you want to do. So.
Yeah, sometimes we have to go back to the basics, like start over. Sometimes we got a lot of things on our plate, and just clean the plate off, start over from ground zero. And 18 to 24, that is a very, what kind of age is that? It's more of a trying to figure out what you want to do in life.
Yeah.
When you're in kindergarten, or preschool or whatever, they ask you, what do you want to be? And a lot of kids say, one thing.
Yeah.
And I always try to go in and, when I'm talking to kids about the book and these preschools and middle schools, I always tell them, don't just pick one thing. You might be good at 2, 3, 4, 5 things.
Yeah, exactly.
So just keep that in mind, because you might get older and that one thing might not pan out. But then you're sitting at home, but you can draw, like a really good artist, but you don't put that to use.
Right.
Just because that other thing didn't pan out doesn't mean that, you throw all those other things away.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I feel like it's a little bit harder now. I mean, I don't know this for sure, but looking back, I feel like it's harder now on a 22-year-old than it was when I was 22. You know what I mean? A lot of different things have changed. Economy's different. I feel like there's less job opportunity in terms of, some things have been automated now. There's just a few different things that I feel like a little bit more difficult now. And I might be being a little bit of a scarcity mindset person right now, but I do feel like they have a little bit harder. So it is a mentality thing. They have to change kind of their mindset, get rid of the scarcity mindset, get more of the abundance mindset, and be like, okay, I know that I'm a really good drawer, but I also know that AI can draw better than me. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you can't let that, you can't let that stop you.
Yeah, because guess what? Women don't want fake diamonds. They want real diamonds. You know what I mean? You can make a great diamond right now in the lab, but don't no woman want one, right? It's the same thing as AI versus somebody who's hand-drawn a painting or a picture, right?
Yeah.
So that's why you have to have the abundance mindset.
Yeah.
My skill is still important.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
all the other skills that you possess too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And like we were saying, the digital age, you know, that age group 18 to 24, they're in the internet era, the cell phone era, and then with YouTube and all the other platforms, they're showing people how to make money like hand over foot, because
And most of the time they're only making money showing people how to make money.
yeah, that's the thing.
Exactly.
It's like they might not even know how to do what they're showing you. They
Yeah.
might have watched the video and said what that person said, and now they got people paying them to talk about what somebody else said, even though they don't know. And that's a whole nother.
That's a whole nother.
That's a whole nother podcast. But that's good that you're trying to teach the kids the ground rules and the basics to succeed, you know, in life and to be better people in the community.
Yeah,
that's wonderful. And hopefully someday we can get those programs into the schools and the correctional facilities, you know, as well. So,
well, that's one of the reasons you have so many people in the correctional facility to start with. You know, they're doing things that they know they shouldn't be doing, and at some point, I'm not going to say they don't know that they shouldn't be doing it, but most people know right from wrong.
Yeah,
you know, if it's not yours, you shouldn't take it. So, the things that get you,
that goes down to integrity.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
You know, it's
doing the hard right instead of the easy wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So but a lot of people just you miss that party in life, or people don't. I mean, it's a shame when you're 22 years old and you're just learning this stuff. That's the problem, you know.
So how would somebody get in contact with you if they want to start the program or get some information about the program?
Well, you can log on to my website. I have a website. It's pblsmn.com. That's principle-based learning service Minnesota.com. Or you can call me, 651-263-6017.
Sounds good. Say somebody's not living in Minnesota, can they still participate in the program?
Yes, I would say, yeah. I don't have a problem. What I teach, and I could do it virtually as well. Another program I'm working on right now is growth mindset. It's always teaching people to have a mind to always learn, always be in a learning mode.
You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. Exactly. But, you know, like I said, whatever. I mean, like here, I see you guys with these cameras. Hey, man, I have to learn a little bit more about these cameras.
You don't know what you don't know.
I'm
the first Rob just busted this camera out of the box. And we just put it on a tripod and said, let's go.
I'm impressed. Yeah. So
you put the mic on top. So
we grabbed one of these mics. We grabbed one of these headphones out of the box, camera out of the box.
That was one of these movements. Right. That was one of those.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, exactly. I was like, you got a new camera?
Yep.
Hold my beer. Watch this.
Yep.
Pull out a new mic.
Yep. That was just, you know, the people you surround yourself by, just like we said, you know.
Yeah, so principle-based learning services. Look it up on the internet.
Sounds good.
Hey, we appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah.
That was really
Definitely
good.
Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
So Cory,
thanks for taking the time out of your day to come on here.
Yeah, especially last minute too. So that was good.
Well, we've done this before, you know, so I definitely appreciate talking about this. And
I just didn't check the camera, and that was on my deck. On my deck in the afternoon, we just chilling and you know outside.
This is what happens when Rob tries to do a podcast without Cory.
See, here we go.
I mean, I don't even know whether we can replicate that. No, I mean, we really had a good time.
Yeah, we did. We did.
I think we talked about a lot of things we didn't talk about here, but the camera wasn't on, so we can't prove it. You know, so.
Just take our word for it.
Yeah.
Cory, where can people find you at?
You can find me on Instagram at the Cory Melvo.
Okay.
How about you, Rob?
On Instagram, Neighbors Cut LLC, NABORSCUT LLC. And you can go on and purchase my book, The Story of Robert Neighbors, at www.neighborscut.com if you haven't purchased it already. I'll be the one sending it out to you with the bookmark, the postcard, the business card, and all that other fun stuff that it involves. So go check out the book on neighborscut.com. Thanks for watching another episode of the Rob and Cory Show with our special guest, Nate Harden. You can catch Nate at pblsmn.com.
Peace.
Peace.